Welcome back to the Real Bio Protocol. Cold open asterisk. My doctor looked at me like I just told her I was planning to drink bleach for breakfast. You're going to eat only meat? For an entire year? Do you understand what that's going to do to your arteries? Your cholesterol will skyrocket. Your kidneys will fail. You'll be back in my office begging for statins within 6 months. If you're lucky enough to still be alive. That was 12 months ago. I'm holding my comprehensive metabolic panel right now. Lipid panel. Inflammatory markers, liver enzymes, kidney function, fasting insulin, everything they said would destroy me. Measured, quantified, undeniable. And I need you to understand something before we go any further. What I'm about to show you isn't just going to challenge what you think you know about diet. It's going to make you furious. Because the data, the actual peer-reviewed data, has been available for decades. And someone made sure you never saw it. 12 months, 0 plants. Nothing but animal products, red meat, organs, eggs, fish, and salt. They told me I'd be dead. My blood tells a very different story. ACT1. The problem asterisk. Let's start with what you've been told your entire life. Saturated fat clogs your arteries. Red meat causes heart disease. Cholesterol is the enemy. Fiber is essential for gut health. You need fruits and vegetables to survive. A balanced diet means eating from all food groups. These aren't suggestions, they're presented as biological law, carved in stone, undeniable, and if you dare to question them, you're a dangerous extremist, a science denier, a ticking time bomb of cardiovascular disaster. The American Heart Association says to limit saturated fat to 6% of daily calories. The dietary guidelines say half your plate should be fruits and vegetables. Every doctor, every nutritionist, every government health organization on the planet has been singing the same song for 70 years. Eat less meat, eat more plants, or die. So let me ask you something. If this advice is so perfect, if the experts have had the answers since the 1950s, why are we sicker than ever? Obesity has tripled since 1975. Type 2 diabetes affects over 37 million Americans. Heart disease remains the #1 killer despite decades of low-fat dieting. Autoimmune conditions are exploding. Depression and anxiety are at record highs. We followed the guidelines. We cut the fat. We ate the whole grains. We forced down the vegetables we hated because we were told they'd save us. And we got worse. But here's what makes my blood boil. The original studies that demonized saturated fat? The research that launched the entire low-fat movement? It was manipulated, cherry-picked. Funded by the sugar industry. In 2016, JAMA Internal Medicine published a bombshell investigation revealing that the Sugar Research Foundation, now called the Sugar Association, paid Harvard scientists in the 1960s to shift blame away from sugar and onto saturated fat. They literally paid researchers to lie. And those lies became the foundation of every dietary guideline for the next half-century. Ancel Keys, the man who created the diet heart hypothesis, hand-selected data from only 7 countries out of 22 available to prove his theory that saturated fat caused heart disease. When you include all the data, the correlation disappears, but his 7 countries study became gospel, and anyone who questioned it was labeled a quack. Meanwhile, the Inuit thrived on seal blubber and whale fat. The Maasai warriors lived on meat, milk, and blood with virtually zero heart disease. Indigenous populations around the world ate almost exclusively animal foods and experienced none of the chronic diseases that plague modern civilization. The evidence has always been there. They just didn't want you to see it. ACT2. The hidden truth asterisk. So what actually happens when you remove all plants and eat only animal foods? Let's talk about what the research actually says. Not the headlines, not the fear-mongering, but the peer-reviewed data that exists in plain sight. A 2021 study published in Current Developments in Nutrition surveyed over 2,000 people following a carnivore diet for at least 6 months. The results? 95% reported improved overall health. 93% reported improved hunger and cravings. Obesity rates dropped dramatically. Diabetes medications were reduced or eliminated in the majority of participants. But here's the part that should make you question everything you've been told. Cardiovascular risk factors improved. Let me say that again. People eating nothing but red meat, eggs, and animal fat, the exact foods we're told will kill us, saw their cardiovascular markers get better. Dr. Paul Saladino, Dr. Sean Baker, Dr. Ken Berry, these aren't fringe lunatics. These are licensed physicians who put thousands of patients on carnivore protocols and documented the results. Lower inflammation, improved insulin sensitivity, reduced triglycerides, better HDL to total cholesterol ratios. And what about LDL? The bad cholesterol that's supposed to skyrocket and murder you in your sleep? Here's what the mainstream won't tell you. LDL particle number and size matter infinitely more than total LDL. Large, fluffy LDL particles are essentially harmless. Small, dense LDL particles are the ones that penetrate arterial walls and cause atherosclerosis. What determines particle size? Primarily carbohydrate intake and insulin resistance. When you eliminate carbohydrates, which is exactly what happens on a carnivore diet, you shift your LDL profile from small and dense to large and fluffy. Your triglyceride to HDL ratio improves. Your actual cardiovascular risk goes down, even if the number on your standard cholesterol test goes up. This isn't alternative medicine. This is lipidology 101. The research exists. It's published in mainstream journals. Doctors just aren't taught it in medical school. A 2020 study in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology concluded that, and I'm quoting directly here, saturated fat does not clog arteries, and that coronary artery disease is a chronic inflammatory condition. Inflammation, not cholesterol, not saturated fat, inflammation. And what drives inflammation? Sugar, refined carbohydrates, seed oils, processed foods, all the things the carnivore diet eliminates completely. ACT3, the mechanism *. Alright, let's get into the biology. Because understanding why carnivore works is the key to understanding why everything you've been told is backwards. Your body runs on two primary fuel sources, glucose and ketones. Glucose comes from carbohydrates, ketones come from fat. The modern diet keeps you locked in glucose burning mode permanently. You eat carbs, your blood sugar spikes, your pancreas releases insulin, insulin shuttles glucose into cells, blood sugar crashes, you get hungry again. Repeat 8 to 10 times per day. This constant cycle of spiking and crashing creates what's called insulin resistance. Your cells become numb to insulin signal. Your pancreas has to produce more insulin to get the same effect. High circulating insulin drives fat storage, promotes inflammation, and accelerates aging at the cellular level. Hyperinsulinemia, chronically elevated insulin, is now recognized as the root cause of metabolic syndrome, which includes obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even certain cancers. When you remove carbohydrates entirely on a carnivore diet, something remarkable happens. Your body shifts into ketosis. Your liver starts converting fatty acids into